Stop the world! I want to get off. Someone just made a comment that I'm a magnet for this stuff. All right, first of all, I do a lot of walking. Even though I had a car, I would still do walking. And whenever I see a problem, I jump in and help. That's how I was raised. And I had this advisor in eighth grade, Mrs. McCord. She was also the English teacher. Nobody liked her. She used to make you say poetry to a cadence. In other words, she used to tap on the desk, and you had to recite your poem to her tapping. Mrs. McCord. So anyway, one time I'm in there with her, and she says, "You're not a regular person. You you just put yourself out there all the time. If you see something's wrong, you make it right. If you see someone in trouble," she just knew that about me. She also made a comment one time to someone else that I'm happy-go-lucky. In other words, I just breeze through life, and that's how a lot of people see me. Oh, he's got a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. They don't see the hard work, never taking a vacation, always having an older car. Well, anyway, people view me different ways than an average person. I wouldn't say I'm average. Um, Average person just kind of has an average job, average house, no real desires. I have desires, but my desires are what I want to get done, not what someone else thinks I should do. Now, here's the Stop the World, I Want to Get Off story. Here we go. Now, there's a bridge being built, and it's a rebuilt. It's on the corner of Hudson County, Bergen County, and Essex County. The roads would be Belleville Turnpike, River Road, North Arlington, Passaic Avenue, Kearny. And across the river, that would be Main Street, Belleville. So there's this bridge. It's really weird looking. It's like down the shore type of bridge. And anyway, they're building this bridge. I know all the guys on the bridge that are working. They're eating with me in Pete's place, which isn't there anymore. Just a few feet from the bridge, diagonally. I think it's a Dunkin' Donut now. If you go and Google it, you can actually drive around right there. You'll see I think the kids, the crew, Kearny crew still has their area there where they row, and they have the dock. If you drive over the bridge and look to the left, you have to drive backwards through the bridge. You have to go on the left lane and look, and you'll see the crew. Well, anyway, you got this corner, and you got guys working on the bridge. Got all kinds of traffic, all kinds of backups because the bridge is closed. So I'm walking along, and all of a sudden I see this car, and it's just sitting there in the middle of all the traffic. Now the bridge is closed, and there's three lanes that come together there. Would be River Road, Passaic Avenue, and Belleville Turnpike. They come to as Belleville Turnpike comes down as a T, and it's all blocked up. And I'm walking to Pete's place. I'm going to get chicken fingers. I can tell you what I'm going to get: chicken fingers or a hamburger deluxe. So I'm walking along, and I see this car. And it's an old man and an old lady, and they're just sitting there, and they got the whole area tied up. So I run across the street. I run into the street. I shouldn't say across the street. I run into the street, and I say to the guy, "I'll push you out of here. I'll push you out of here." So one of the guys that knows me from Pete's place, he's coming over to go get whatever he's going to drink. He's going to drink. He's going to have a little sandwich and lots of booze. The bridge guys, they're steelworker union. They drink a lot. So anyway, he sees me. He makes eye contact, and he's the kind of guy I am. In other words, he sees me pushing the car. He comes right over, and there are the two assholes pushing the car. And I'm going to say assholes. You know why? The guy is senile that's driving the car. He's gone. He ran out of gas, but the car's moving, and he's making believe he's steering. Oh, my God. So we get from the middle of the bridge intersection all the way down, a little further, parallel to Pete's place. And I look at the guy that's helping me. I said, "He's senile. He thinks the engine's running." And he goes, "No." I said, "Stop pushing." I went up to talk to him. He's gone. I said to the woman sitting next to him, "Your husband's senile." She says, but I have to get to the doctor. I said, listen to me. I said, he doesn't know where he is. And you can see him. I won't say he was drooling, but he was drooling. He was gone. So I start turning the wheel to the right to get off the road. And the other guy's helping me. See, there are people like me out there. He's pushing, and he's starting to laugh. He says, this is funny. I said, yeah, if we kept pushing, he would have kept driving. I said, I think they wanted to go over the bridge, but they didn't realize the bridge was closed. So we push him, and he pulls off to the side, and I reach and I take the keys. And the woman's bitching me, well, how am I going to get to the doctor? I said, I don't care, lady. I said, I touched this car. I got involved with this. I'm part of the problem at this point. So I had the keys, and all of a sudden here, somebody called about the traffic jam, and now here comes the cop. And he's from my town. And he comes across because he sees me. And he goes, hey, John, how you doing? I go, yeah, we're at it again. Yeah, because these cops have been there when I broke up a guy trying to beat a girl up. I think I told you that story before. But anyway, I said, this guy's senile. I said, I don't know what to do. I said, me and this other guy. The other guy says, I got to go. He's leaving me, the bridge worker, the steel worker. He goes over to Pete's place. And I said, yeah, that guy, we were pushing him thinking we are going to get him out of the intersection. But the guy thought the car was working. He started driving. So the cop looks at me. He knows what's going on. I said, I hand him the keys. I said, these are the keys to the car. I said, I really got to go in Pete's place. I'm really hungry. I said, I got to go. So he's standing there, and another cop car comes up, I think from Kearney or one of the other ones. So I go in Pete's place, and when I come through the door, everybody's watching this. They go, what is going on out there? I said, well, the guy's senile. He ran out of gas, and me and the guy, I point to the guy sitting at the bar now. I said, me and him were pushing him, and he thought the car was working. And we were laughing. I was like, this is messed up. So I put my order in, and I'm sitting on the bar stool waiting for my sandwich. Could have been chicken fingers or a hamburger deluxe. And they're saying something. They said, look, he helped me also. I said, we were getting the car out of the intersection, so it wasn't gridlocked anymore. You know, that was the plan. I said, I can't help it that the guy's senile. The guy was just out of gas. I would come in Pete's place and call somebody, and I'm bringing him some gas. But he's out of his mind, and the woman in there wants to go to her doctor. I said, I'm not getting involved. I got involved, but that's it. So I'm sitting there. In comes the cop. Well, you gotta help me fill out a few things, because he's in that. He came across he's not in North Arlington anymore. He came across Belleville Pike. He's now in Kearney, and the Kearney guy's there, and they're all laughing. So then they start telling me, we got the guy's license. We took the license, and they're showing me the back of the license. Look at how many marks are on the back of the license, and I didn't know this. So they start telling me, whenever you pull a guy over that seems a little out of it, you put a mark in a certain spot. So when another cop pulls him over, he sees the mark, and then he checks him out a little bit more. And after they see so many marks, they just take the license from the guy and the keys. But they're all like, nobody wanted to stop. In other words, you have to. I don't know if they called the first aid squad, and they took the guy away. But anyway, nobody wanted to be the bad guy. And I said, look, me and this guy over here. I pointed him. He didn't want to get involved. I said, you see that guy there? He's working on the bridge. He saw me, and he was helping me push the car. And our plan was to push the car forward, get it out of the intersection, and there was a dirt on the side of the road by the park. You can actually see the park if you Google all this. It's Riverside Park. It's in Kearney. Well, anyway, that's what our plan was. And then the guy's in there, and he's moving the steering wheel back and forth like he's in a movie, and they have the roads running behind him on the screen. Oh my God! So I did learn something. The cops told me, yeah, what they do is they put a mark on the back of the license, and that tells the next cop that pulls him over, there's a possibility this guy isn't right. He's either drunk or he's senile. In most cases, it's a senile mark. But yeah, the last comment, the guy says, you're a magnet. No, I'm not a magnet. I get involved. A lot of people just keep walking. I saw one time, I heard this loud screeching noise, looked out of my bedroom window, and there was this big fat woman, let's put it that way. And she got hit by a bus. What she did was she crossed, and she didn't get hit by the bus. She got out of the bus and crossed in front of the bus, and some guy decided, in a pickup truck, decided to go around the bus, and he hit her. And she went rolling. I mean, she actually rolled. She was so fat. And we sort of got involved. We used to call and check to see how she was doing. But while this was happening, my neighbor down the street was walking right by it, saw the whole thing. So the next day, I mentioned it to her. I said, man, you were right there when she got hit. She rolled. All her fruits and oranges went rolling. No, I wasn't there. And I'm like, I said, you go behind my house every single morning. She totally would not talk about it. The woman didn't die. And when they took the woman out, they had to use something special. But they had to put her in a children's hospital, because she was too big for a regular bed in a regular hospital. Because across the street is where I ended up working. And me and my mother worked there. It was Woolway, and it's now the Lucky 7. But my mother called to see how the woman was doing, and she did a lot of damage to the truck. And they said she was mostly bruised. And but I looked at the window, I saw her rolling, and all these oranges and apples or whatever flying out, and the girl was right there. And I said, that's my neighbor. And my mother says, yeah, what's she doing? She just kept walking. She stiffed up. She got stiff, and she walked past it, and then she just, I guess, forgot it, some type of trauma. But when I mentioned it to her, she was like, I wasn't there. That wasn't me. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, she went on to, I won't tell you anymore. But this is the stuff that happens. And you either get involved or you don't get involved. And on the highway, when something bad would happen, I would get out of my car. I would drive down to where I could park my car, where it was safe, and I'd come back and help out as best I can until the police came. As soon as the police came, I said, look, I didn't see nothing. I just stopped to make sure I could get the guy that's off the highway, if he could. You know, you're not supposed to move people, but sometimes you have to. And I was raised Episcopal. Dad actually put this stuff into my head. And I told you that woman, Mrs. McCord, she says, you're just special. You have it in you that you care about other people. And then she used to, whenever a new student would come to the school, she'd pair them up with me. And I would walk them around, until they felt comfortable in the school, maybe 2 or 3 days. And she wrote to me, you have such a pleasant personality, and you're very, what were some of the words she used? You're very logical, and you don't do anything out of malice. She was using these big words. She was an English teacher, but English teachers go into what they're best at, and it's English, and then they can't understand why the students aren't any good. But I had a teacher one time. I asked him for help. I don't know how to do that. Oh, you're a teacher. No, I went into English because I'm good at English. And I'm like, yeah, you torture the crap out of us because you're really good at English and we're not good at English. And there are kids that are good at English. But think about it. When the people go to become a teacher, they go into the subject they're the best at. What we should be doing is having a teacher that's not good at the subject teach everybody. There would be a little bit more empathy. There's a good word, empathy. I think that's it. All right, that's it. Don't drive if you're senile.